In a few days, they shifted to Shanik, a requisitioned naval dockyard 3 miles from Leopoldville. Here, they set up a battalion headquarters and were ready in a matter of days for operational duties. The United Nations had originally intended to keep the Malayan force for 3 weeks training in Leopoldville, after which they were to proceed to South Kasai. It was felt their experience in jungle warfare would qualify them to put down tribal uprisings in that rich mining district. But, as events have shown, our troops stayed on in Leopoldville. The commanding officer of the Malayan Special Force, Lieutenant Colonel Unku Nasruddin, reported for duty to the UN Supreme Commander in the Congo, General Carl van Horn. After a short briefing on the situation in the Congo, the Supreme Commander assigned duties to the Malayan troops. He said he was sure that despite difficult conditions, our men would do a good job. At the Ndola airstrip, about 3 miles from the city, the entire Malayan force went on parade. Foreign diplomats, representatives of the United Nations force, and Congolese dignitaries attended this formal presentation of the Malayan Special Force to the United Nations Supreme Commander in the Congo. The Supreme Commander, General Carl van Horn, took the salute. A United Nations blue beret bearing the regimental heckle and cap badges of the Royal Malay Regiment and Reconnaissance Corps was presented to the Supreme Commander as a token of goodwill. The dark blue heckle in the cap has become the symbol of all the Malayan troops in the Congo. General Carl van Horn handed a United Nations flag to Lieutenant Colonel Nasruddin, signifying that the Malayan force had formally come under United Nations command. He then inspected the parade. The bulk of our force comes from the 4th Battalion, the Royal Malay Regiment. Formed in 1949, it has continuously been in action and has scored overwhelming victories against the terrorists. Here, in the cause of world peace, our men will further acquit themselves with valor and discretion. This is the first time our soldiers have gone overseas on an international mission. General van Horn then inspected the officers and men of the reconnaissance squadron. Multiracial, it is itself an image of the United Nations force in the Congo. After inspection, a march past. This is the first time that the Federation flag, with the crescent moon, the stars and stripes of Malaya, was proudly borne away before a public audience on Congolese soil. In the short time they have been in the Congo, our troops have been complimented for their discipline and smartness in parade and in the efficient performance of their duties. To mark this occasion, the Federation government made a gift to the Supreme Commander, a Malayan ivory kris specially delivered by air from Kuala Lumpur and now personally presented to the General.
Askar, Angkatan Kas Persekutuan Tanah Melayu.
Beginning his address with a few words in Malay, the Supreme Commander officially welcomed the Malayan Special Force to Congo. He said theirs was a difficult task. Those who one day beg you to protect them and their property do not hesitate the next day to accuse you falsely of inactivity, maltreatment, theft, and even capital crime. But fortunately, good discipline and an excellent morale has stood the test. Muster parade, and the troops are dispatched on their various assignments. Details go off on patrol duties. Ferret cars proceed to strategic positions. Guards are mounted at United Nations installations and essential services, and sometimes roadblocks. At the broadcasting house of Radio Leopoldville, the Malayans took over guard duties from the Ghanaians. The Malayans also provided security for United Nations dignitaries and Congolese leaders. A special duty was to protect Mr. Kasongo, the Speaker of Parliament, in his own house. And, the most important task of all, guarding the United Nations headquarters. At the United Nations Signals headquarters, Malayan signallers work side by side with men of the Royal Canadian Signal Squadron who are responsible for the entire communications in the country. This central control station has connections with the main headquarters of the United Nations and the provincial capitals of the Congolese Republic. There is a daily briefing for the United Nations liaison officers gathered from all the 6 continents. Here, technical experts from as far apart as Australasia and Europe meet together with officers of 30 contingents from Malaya and Indonesia to Ethiopia, Ghana, Morocco, Tunisia, Ireland and Sweden. Men of the United Nations mission in the Congo must at all times be kept informed and prepared. Headed by Dr. Stuart Linner is a huge United Nations technical aid program. The sudden withdrawal of Belgians left all the public services paralyzed, and to fill this vacuum came the men from many United Nations agencies. The public health services have been partly restored with the help of international medical experts and Red Cross workers. Hundreds of doctors have arrived. For the first time, 65 Congolese have left for medical training in Europe. Sick and homeless refugees are now being cared for and rehabilitated. Food and medical supplies have been distributed amongst the thousands of victims of tribal warfare in Kasai and Katanga.